I got so excited when I saw you guys on Shark Tank because I know that like the type of built-in advertisement that is, whether you get a deal or not. And spoiler alert, you guys did get a deal on the show with Robert, but like, how much did that change everything for you here?
It definitely made the web traffic was insane.
I bet.
I mean, it's been really fun that first night when we aired in May.
You've also got great branding, by the way. Like, we're talking about cold plunges. The company's called Plunge. The website is Cold Plunge, the Cold Plunge, right? Like, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
You have all the SEO.
Yeah, totally, man. Which brings up its own dynamic of like, we kind of named ourselves the thing. And so it's like, it's great for SEO, but then there's this, getting into trademarks and a whole other conversation, which is a challenge. But yeah, the show was such a cool experience. Like they reached out to us from the beginning. So that was it wasn't on our radar. And they reached out and we're like, oh shit, this would be incredible. And they're like, we think you should apply.
Wow.
And so we're like, let's do it. And so we applied, and it was probably the most intense application process I've ever been through. Like more than I would assume becoming a U.S. citizen. Like it was a lot of docs, a lot of interviews. Took probably, I don't know, a month of just like concerted effort of things that we had to go through. So we got on, selected to the show. We're coming, booked in. We got your flights down. You're coming in. So we went down Sony Studios. It was like the show. I didn't know. I got to know a few people that had done the show, but I didn't really know what to expect. Like how staged is this? Like what really goes on? And it was like a really authentic show. Like it was cool to see how much they cared about business, how much they cared about like raising up entrepreneurs. And we go out to the show, and it was really authentic. It was us and the 5 Sharks. You walk out, you like say that pitch, I'm Ryan from Sacramento, California. And we go through that 2-minute spiel. Outside of that, it's open. Like that happens, and then it's just, here we go.
Really?
And it's just the set is silent. Like no one mentions a thing.
Did they tell you before you go in, like, you got to know your numbers, you got to know this?
They prepped us a lot. Okay. So we had to practice our pitch, the 2-minute pitch. Yeah. That's practiced a number of times with producers.
Do you do that before producers, and then they're like, you know what, that's actually change this part, make this something else?
I would say 90% was us.
Okay.
They gave us like little bits of feedback. The big thing was like, they don't want, okay, if we set a stat, it's like, we need the study. We need to know that this is real. And so like we would, not that ever switched our pitch, but they would say it's a little long, or it's a little short, or, what are you trying to achieve? So they would coach us a little on it, but we had the whole thing. I mean, we kind of came up with it. I remember Mike and I, we would rent Airbnbs and get away and just practice our like 2-minute pitch. So we would just like get away from the office, go away for a night, and just like practice back and forth.
Oh, that's great.
So it got to a point, I remember we went to a festival, like a music festival the week before, and it was like, we couldn't stop. All we were doing was saying our pitches, like, and like queuing each other up and ready. And then when the moment happened to actually walk out, I remember, it's a very surreal moment. It's like you're at those doors, it's the Shark Tank doors, and you're on the set, and it's a massive, massive warehouse set. I don't know how many people are in there.
That hallway looks really long too.
There's length to it, and it's a buzzing set. And all of a sudden, it gets quiet. It's just like, it's this little village that's going berserk, and then it just gets quiet, and then you just have this one. Like, he's the stage producer. He's one guy right in front of us, and he's just like, I think he's half therapist, half like stage manager. And he's just kind of talking to us, and he's just like, all right, you guys, how you guys feeling? You guys ready? And it's like, whoa, this is eerily quiet. Like, this is it. Like, this is, this isn't the practice session anymore. The camera's right there, and he's like, and we're kind of prepped. And I remember looking over at Mike, my co-founder, and he's like a tall 6'6" guy. And I just see him, and he just starts like dancing. Like, this is right before the doors open. I look over, I'm like, whoa, what's going on with this guy? Come to find out, he's like, I forgot my lines. Like, I was like certain. He's like, I couldn't access them. Like, I was done. Like, I couldn't remember my lines. And he's like, all I thought was like, just dance. Like dance. Like that's the only way. And I kind of looked at him and I just started laughing. I'm like, whoa, what are we getting into here? And then those doors open and we just walked out and then we set our pitch and I,
How long was your actual time in there? Because it cuts down to probably 8 to 10 minutes usually.
Yeah, I think ours was it's like 6 to 7 was ours. And we're probably out there 40 to 45 minutes.
Wow.
So
they added a lot out.
They do. And it's interesting to see what makes the cut and how they want to position it. For us, they got real into the negotiation pretty quick. Like it was kind of numbers and then boom, into the negotiation. So there's like a whole story, because they don't have any concept of our business prior.
Wow.
So we have to go out and really like tell the story. Like, what are your numbers? What's your background? Who are you as entrepreneurs? Is this your first time doing business? Is this not? Like, why? Where's the product market fit? Like, we had to get it all on the court for them and be like, this is who we are. So there's like there's an education piece, and then they're all kind of talking over each other. They're all jockeying for things, and you start talking to one, and the other just yells something in, and you kind of have stage control, like telling them to, hey, I'll get to you, like, because they're kind of. There's definitely like the ego piece for them. They all want the deal, or they don't want the deal.
Yeah.
If it's a good deal, they're going to fight for it.
And this was evidently a good deal because most of the time when people go into the Shark Tank and they're asking for $1 million plus, you get laughed. Actually, you guys kind of did get laughed at when you first said, what was it, 1.2 for 5%?
1.2 for 5, which we upped it. So we originally had it going into the show. We were 1 million for 5%. And they were already like we had good numbers. Mm-hmm. So you get casted with like a producer. Like a producer works with us specifically. So they kind of coach us and they're like, okay, like this is a pretty high ask, but I think you have the numbers to back it up. So we go in and we're getting like, they're like redoing our powder or whatever, makeup before. So we're about to go out in like probably 8 minutes. And Mike and we were like, I think our valuation's low. And so we were like, we're going to up it. We're going to up it to 1.2 for 5%. And our producer guy's like, are you guys kidding me? Okay, this is insane. Like, you guys, like, fine. You guys can up it. But Ryan, when you say, because my part of my pitch was 1.2 for 5%. He's like, when you say that, like, shut up for 3 seconds. He's like, because they're all going to make comments to you. Which they did. Like, they were all like, oh, I bet. Like, that whole thing.
But then you got 4 offers.
We did get 4. Yeah, I think, were they the best offers? Like, I still don't even know what Mr. Wonderful was offering. Like, that one was still, I think he wanted a royalty add-on to every unit.
That's what he does,
yeah,
right?
It was.
I felt like Barbara made an offer for the sake of making an offer.
Exactly. Barbara, she was making comments on, like, she wanted it to be cool for her grandkids, and she thought it was cool for her grandkids, so she just threw out an offer, little outside of what we wanted. And then it really came down to Robert and Mark, into, the piece that we had, which we had kind of identified those two, because we did know that Robert was going to get in the plunge.
Did you plan that?
We had, yes, we pitched it to Shark Tank. And because we were like, we have to get someone in the plunge, whether it's us or someone we bring or like a celebrity or and they were like, let's get one of the sharks in. And they're like, Robert's our guy.
Robert does everything.
So exactly. So that was like the only known piece that I think Robert knew he needed to show up in have a bathing suit. That was he was going to be getting in a bathing suit. He didn't know what the product was.
His reaction was incredible.
The shrieking, it was like one of the best moments, like. And I remember when it started to happen, I was like, almost like, oh shit, like, dude, calm down. Like, we got to get this guy to calm down.
This is supposed to be zen.
Exactly. And he's yelling, shut up. Like, and so we finally, but to his credit, man, he did it. And I think he was plunging in the 50s, which, is cold water.
Yeah, I think you said 55.
Yeah, which is absolutely cold water if you don't doing that consistently. It's freezing.
There's definitely a moment where he sinks into it.
That's 100%. There's a clear moment where you could see his just nervous. He just calms down. And a lot of credit to him. Like, yeah, it's TV and he's getting on and there's a dramatic effect, but he settled in. I give him a lot of credit. And he came in, he took it seriously once he got to that moment, into the sense of like, okay, I'm actually going to see what this is like. I'm going to listen to these guys and control my breath.
Yeah.
And he had a great experience. So I think that helped. We had more of a connection with him.
Yeah.
He'd used the product now. He had been in it. He got it. Mark, obviously from the pro sports side, we were thinking there might be something there.
He looked upset when you took Robert's deal.
I don't even remember what.
Oh yeah, if you watch it back, he was like really? You took? I mean, I think it was 12% versus 15% because you countered Mark.
Yeah, and that was kind of our final. We had discussed that was our threshold that we would go to. So I was really happy Robert hit that because we wanted to walk out with, we wanted to do something with someone.
Yeah.
And Robert was able to hit that number, and we also got that line of credit, which was like a big piece to it of helping with like POs and things like that.
Yeah.
So overall, I mean, the deal was, I think the overall lump sum of the amount was higher than we even went in looking for.
$2.4 million.
Exactly.
Yeah, including the line of credit. It's amazing.
And then the promotional side, like you asked, like what was that like? It was. It's aired twice now since the date. So we had the original air date, and then we re-aired on ABC probably 6 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
So that's always like you get those nice bumps again.
And then it will re-air on CNBC for the next 50 years. So
exactly. Like that's the and then we always get the as seen on Shark Tank now.
That's
so
amazing.
We get the like we're talking SEO and the videos and the trade show events and all the stuff now with the video of as seen on Shark Tank. So company-wise, huge. Personal experience, one of the most. I'd never been so tired for not really doing anything in my life. Like I blacked out. I was so present. I remember coming out being exhausted.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just stood out there for 40 to 45 minutes talking to these people.